Audiobook Top, your new home for the finest selection of audiobooks available anywhere.
Listen closely now for a tale of glory and gruesome shadow. Picture, if you will, the magnificent Hall Horat, King Hrothgar's golden gift to his people. A beacon of human craft, resounding with laughter, the harp's bright song, the joyous clamor of warriors feasting, their boasts echoing under its vaulted roof. For 12 years, Hrothgar's reign had known peace and prosperity, Hrothgar the very heart of their thriving world, a symbol of communal joy blessed by the Almighty. But how swiftly even the grandest edifice crumbles before unseen malice. Out in the desolate fens, a creature of darkness, spawned from Cain's curse line, listened. Grendel, they called him, a fiend whose heart festered with a bitter hatred for light, for revelry, for any sound of human happiness. The very music from Horat was torment to his accursed ears, a constant reminder of the life he was denied. One night, as the warriors, sated with ale and song, lay wrapped in slumber within the hall, Grendel stole forth from his swampy lair. His monstrous shadow crept over the moors, silent as death, until he stood at Horat's massive doors. With a savage joy known only to the damned, he wrenched them open. And then, the unspeakable horror began. He snatched up 30 men, still dreaming of battles won and feasts to come, devouring them, blood gushing, bones crunching, before retreating into the night, leaving behind a scene of unimaginable carnage. The morning brought wailing, not laughter. The glorious hall was drenched in gore, the seats of heroes empty, their lives snuffed out by an inexplicable evil. This was no single isolated horror. Grendel returned, night after terrifying night, his appetite for slaughter insatiable. No warrior's blade could touch him, no shield could ward off his unholy strength. Horat, once a haven, became a death trap. The brave Danes, their hearts heavy with dread, abandoned their mead benches, fleeing the monster's nightly terror. The hall, the shining crown of their kingdom, stood empty, silent save for the echoes of past joy, now hollow and mocking. For 12 long winters, this shadow of despair clung to the land, a monstrous, unyielding sorrow, a curse on all mankind, a wound that festered without hope of healing. Welcome, seeker of stories, to a threshold not merely of an ancient poem, but of a timeless human heart. Lay aside, for a moment, the heavy mantle of expectation, the dusty scholarly robes, and step with me into the flickering shadows cast by a roaring hearth, where tales truly live. We stand on the precipice of Beowulf, yet our journey begins not with the recitation of lines, but with an excavation. This introduction, beyond the poem A Journey into the Heroic Soul, beckons us to peer beyond the ink on the page, past the Old English verse and its intricate kennings, into the very essence of what it means to be heroic. Imagine a world forged in the crucible of ice and iron, where shadows lurk at the edges of firelight, and the roar of the wind carries the chill of existential dread. In such a world, courage wasn't a virtue, it was the very breath of survival. Loyalty wasn't a choice, it was the bedrock of community. And the heroic soul, that was the flickering ember of defiance against an indifferent, often brutal, universe. We're not here simply to catalog Beowulf's feats, his monstrous battles, his impossible strengths. Those are but brushstrokes on a grander canvas. Our true quest is to understand the man behind the myth, the driving force within that singular soul. What stirred him from his tranquil homeland to sail across perilous seas for a people not his own? What fortitude sustained him through horrors that would shatter lesser men? What vision of honor compelled him to face inevitable doom in his twilight years? This is a journey into the moral landscape of a warrior culture, where glory was fleeting, but reputation, the ***, was eternal. It's an exploration of the burdens of leadership, the nature of sacrifice, and the profound, often lonely, cost of heroism. Through Beowulf, we glimpse not just an Anglo-Saxon ideal, but a universal archetype, the individual who stands against chaos, who dares to defy the darkness, whose internal compass points steadfastly towards integrity and aid for others, even unto death. As we turn these pages, let the ancient words become a portal. Feel the spray of the waves on the prow of the longship, hear the clang of sword on shield, but more importantly, listen to the silent hum of Beowulf's spirit. Let us not merely read his story, but undertake, alongside him, this profound journey into the very depths of a heroic soul, discovering perhaps echoes of that same defiant courage within ourselves. For the poem, in its raw, visceral power, is not just a relic, it is a mirror, reflecting the enduring human struggle for meaning, courage, and a noble purpose in a world forever teetering between light and shadow. Come, let us begin. Hearken now to tales of old, of a time when the world was younger and heroes walked amongst us. Our story begins not with Beowulf himself, but with the Danes, a people once rudderless, adrift in a sea of despair. For years they suffered, leaderless, their hope a flickering flame in the vast, cold darkness of their plight. Then, from the vast, unknowable ocean, a miracle. A ship, laden with treasures beyond reckoning yet empty save for a sleeping child, drifted ashore. This infant, Siled Seafing, the shield chief, they named him, became their salvation. He grew into a mighty king, fearsome in battle, generous in peace. He drove away their enemies, established their laws, and showered them with gifts, becoming indeed the shield of his nation, a protector against all woes. His reign was a golden age, his name sung in every mead hall with reverence and love. When his time came, Siled, true to his mysterious arrival, was laid upon a ship, surrounded by treasures even grander than those that accompanied his coming. With banners unfurled and a golden standard raised, the vessel drifted out into the gray embrace of the sea, carrying its beloved king back to the unknown, a final, poignant journey. The Danes mourned, but his legacy endured, a beacon for all who followed. From his lineage rose Hrothgar, a chieftain of great renown, successful in war, wealthy and wise. His heart swelled with ambition, a grand vision taking root in his mind, to build a hall, the greatest ever conceived by man, a monument to his power and generosity, where he could share his bounty with all his loyal warriors. And so Heorot, the Hall of the Heart, rose magnificent from the earth, its timbers reaching for the sky, its roof gleaming like gold in the sun. Within Heorot's splendid walls, the Danes gathered. The Scop's harp sang tales of creation, of joy and light, while the mead flowed freely. Laughter and revelry filled the air, a symphony of contentment, a vibrant testament to Hrothgar's benevolent rule and the prosperity Siled had initiated. For a time, peace reigned, and the shield of the nation seemed unbreakable. But deep within the fenlands, a dark spirit stirred. The joyful sounds of Heorot, the songs of creation, were anathema to its twisted soul. As the human world rejoiced, a monstrous evil began to awaken, its malice curdling in the shadows, waiting for the opportune moment to strike, to shatter the newfound peace and test the very foundation of the Danes' shield. The stage was set for a confrontation with the unimaginable. Chapter 2. Horod, the golden hall here now, of Hrothgar, the shield of the Sildings, whose heart swelled with a grand vision, a dream cast in timbers and gold. He commanded a hall be built, mightier and more magnificent than any seen beneath the heavens. Horod, the Heart Hall, where his retainers would feast and his people find solace and joy. High it rose, gleaming in the sun, its roof beams adorned, its floorboards ringing with laughter and the harp's sweet song. Within those walls, the Scop would chant tales of creation, of light conquering darkness, of the Almighty's grace bestowing life upon earth, and sea days flowed like golden mead, filled with merriment and fellowship, a beacon of human spirit in a world still wild. But deep within the fenlands, in his joyless mere, lurked a creature of shadow, Grendel, descendant of Cain, forever cursed, forever exiled from God's bright world. The echoing cheer from Heorot, the melodies of the Scop, the very sound of human happiness, became a torment to his dark soul. His monstrous heart curdled with envy and wrath. Night after night, the joyous din pierced his desolate lair, stoking a festering hatred until it burst forth, a tide of pure malice. Under the cloak of darkness, Grendel stalked silent as death to the great hall. The warriors, their bellies full of ale, lay slumbering, heedless of the doom approaching. With a terrible, swift hand, the fiend tore open the ornate doors, then snatched 30 sleeping men, devouring them in his maw, bone and flesh alike. He retreated, leaving behind only the crimson stains of slaughter and the echoing screams of the few who stirred to witness the horror. Morning awoke with the dawn. The great gold hall, once a symbol of unity and gladness, was now a tomb, a house of sorrow. The joyful songs ceased, replaced by keening and the hollow silence of fear. Grendel had tasted blood, and he would return. And so he did, night after night, for 12 long winters, making Heorot his personal hunting ground. No man dared sleep within its walls. The grand hall stood empty, a monument to terror, a shell echoing with past joys and present despair. Hrothgar, the noble king, sat upon his throne, broken, his heart heavy with grief for his lost warriors, helpless against this relentless, unseen foe. The news of Heorot's plight, of the Danes' unending suffering, spread like a cold wind across the Whale Road, across the wide seas, a desperate plea carried on every gust. Chapter 3. The coming of Grendel. Ah, my friends, gather close now, for the tale turns dark. We spoke of Heorot, did we not? Of its soaring gables, its golden gleam, a beacon of joy in the wide world. Day after day, within those hallowed walls, the harp strings sang, the mead cups clinked, and the voices of Hrothgar's warriors rose in hymns of creation, praising the Almighty who spun the world from nothingness. A symphony of life, robust and vibrant, it echoed through the very earth. But deep within the shadowy fens, where the mist clung like a shroud and the ancient evils slumbered, there dwelled a creature born of primordial dread. Grendel, they called him a fiend of the fell moors, sprung from the lineage of Cain, cursed by God for his brother's blood. He was a monster of immense evil, his heart a festering wound of envy. And that joyous noise, that vibrant music spilling from Heorot, was a torment to his dark soul. Each note, each laugh, was a shard of light piercing his perpetual night. It festered within him, a venomous brew, until the hunger for destruction became unbearable. One night, as the revelry died down and the weary warriors sought their sleep within Heorot's hallowed hall, Grendel stirred. His great, clawed shadow detached from the bog, gliding with silent menace towards the lighted feast hall. The stout oak doors, so secure against man or beast, offered no resistance to his monstrous strength. He burst in, a nightmare made flesh, his eyes blazing with malevolent glee. Sleep, that gentle balm, turned to icy terror. 30 of Hrothgar's finest, strong and brave in life, were snatched from their slumber. Grendel's grip, a vice of death, crushed bone and flesh. He tore them limb from limb, drank their blood, and devoured their bodies, leaving behind only the gruesome evidence of his savage feast. Then, gorged on slaughter, he vanished back into the night, a chilling wind sweeping through the hall. The dawn broke, revealing a scene of unspeakable horror. Hrothgar, the good king, looked upon his butchered kinsman, his heart ripped by sorrow. Weeping for his loss, for the sudden, brutal violation of his golden hall, he knew then that a new enemy had arisen, an unspeakable terror that walked in the dark. And so began the long, agonizing ordeal. Night after night, Grendel returned. Not every night, but often enough to keep hope a fleeting whisper, and fear a constant companion. Heorot, once the jewel of the Danes, became a death trap, a silent tomb. The warriors fled its walls, seeking safety elsewhere, for to sleep in Heorot was to invite certain doom. 12 long years, 12 winters of despair, of empty halls, of the monster's shadow falling upon the land. Hrothgar, great and wise, was powerless. His counsel, his strength, his riches all were useless against this hell serf who respected no truce, offered no compensation for his savagery. Yet one sacred spot remained untouched, the king's throne, protected by the Almighty. Grendel, for all his might, could not approach that hallowed seat, hinting at a power greater than his own, a divine boundary he dared not cross. The Danes prayed, they sacrificed, they lamented. But no human hand, no earthly warrior, seemed capable of lifting this crushing curse. The world grew dim under Grendel's shadow, and hope, like the winter sun, seemed to retreat further and further, awaiting a hero from afar. Chapter 4, 12 Winters of Grief. And so it was, after that first crimson night of horror, that the shadow of Grendel did not lift from the land of the Danes. Nay, it settled, cold and heavy, clinging to the timbers of Heorot, seeping into the very soil. One winter melted into another, each bringing its own bitter frost, each witnessing the beast's return. Not once, not twice, but * 12 times * did the sun set on a year of terror, 12 seasons did the snow fall, only to be stained by the blood of Hrothgar's finest warriors. Heorot, once the jewel of the north, the gleaming monument to Hrothgar's wisdom and generosity, became a silent, spectral hall. Its gilded roof, meant to echo with laughter and the clash of tankards, now cradled only the whispers of the wind and the imagined screams of the departed. The great doors, once flung wide in welcome, stood shut or merely gaped open to the elements, for none dared to sleep within its cursed walls. Cobwebs, spun by fear itself, draped the once bright tapestries. The hearth, where a roaring fire once chased away the winter chill, lay cold, ash-filled, a monument to deserted hope. King Hrothgar, the wise and gray-haired protector of his people, watched his realm wither. His heart, heavy with an unspeakable sorrow, aged more in those 12 years than in all his long life before. He could not fight Grendel, for the fiend was beyond mortal combat. He could not reason with him, for the monster knew only malice. His mighty hall, the symbol of his reign, was now a tomb of memory. He sought solace where he could, lifting his prayers to ancient, heathen gods, offering sacrifices in desperate hope of divine intervention, but no succor came. The skies remained silent, and Grendel remained a relentless scourge. For 12 long winters, the fiend held his dominion. Each night, a lurking fear gripped the Danes. Each dawn, a tally of the missing. Yet, strangely, Grendel never dared to touch the gleaming throne, the seat of Hrothgar's power, protected, so it was believed, by the Almighty himself. The monster's evil, though potent, had its limits. He was a creature of the dark, a phantom of the night, stealing lives, yet unable to usurp true, divinely sanctioned authority. And so the tale of Halrat's misery, of Hrothgar's unending grief, of the 12 long, bloody winters under Grendel's shadow, began to spread like wildfire across the northern seas. Sailors, driven by storm or trade, carried the grim tidings from shore to distant shore. The bards, their voices hushed, wove new sorrowful lays, telling of the once proud hall and its noble, broken king. The very air carried the weight of this prolonged despair, a collective sigh from a kingdom held hostage by an unholy terror. It was a wound that festered for more than a decade, a darkness that seemed destined to engulf all joy, until the world changed again. Chapter 5. A hero hears the call. The salt winds, travelers of the northern seas, carried more than the tang of distant shores. They brought whispers of Heorot built for joy and song, now silent and haunted. Whispers of Grendel, a monstrous shadow, stalking the night, snatching warriors from sleep. These tales, frayed at the edges by countless retellings, yet sharp with the keen edge of terror, drifted across the Whale Road, over the cold, gray expanse, until they settled upon the ears of the Geats. And in their land sat Beowulf, nephew to Hygelac, whose heart was as vast as the ocean he commanded, and whose arm was mighty as its storms. The news came not as a sudden clamor, but as the steady, growing rumble of distant thunder. He listened, his brow furrowed, his keen eyes thoughtful. He heard of Hrothgar, king of the Danes, once prosperous, now a broken old man, watching his people dwindle. He heard of the empty mead hall, a monument to despair. For many nights, Beowulf pondered these tidings beneath the watchful stars. It was not a reckless urge that stirred within him, but a deep, unshakable conviction, born of courage and compassion. He was a hero, not by boast alone, but by the very fiber of his being. To hear of such suffering, such an affront to human joy and order, and to remain idle, was unthinkable. It was a summons, a call echoing from the desolate halls of Denmark to the valiant heart of Geatland. He saw not just a monster, but a challenge worthy of his strength, a chance to weave his name into the very tapestry of legend, and to offer succor to a king in dire need. His decision, once formed, was unyielding as the granite cliffs of his homeland. No man, he declared to his loyal companions, his voice resonating with purpose, shall suffer such indignity if a strong arm and a willing heart can make it right. He chose his finest warriors, 14 stout men, seasoned by battle and bound by fierce loyalty. They gathered their gear-polished mail shirts gleaming like moonlight, sharp swords singing of clashes, and sturdy shields bearing marks of countless skirmishes. The long-keeled ship, swift and true, was drawn to the shore. The mast was stepped, the white sail unfurled, eager to catch the wind's embrace. With a final farewell to their homeland, the brave Geats pushed off from the land. The prow cut through the waves, a seabird eager for flight, carrying its precious cargo of hope and vengeance across the vast, gray stretches of the ocean. The call had been heard, and the hero, with his chosen band, answered it with the full might of his resolute spirit, sailing towards a destiny that would forever etch his name into the annals of time. Chapter 6. The sea road to glory. When grim tidings of Grendel's havoc reached distant Geatland, Beowulf's great heart stirred. Hygelac's Thane, legendary in strength and spirit, heard the Danes lament. He felt their suffering, a wound across kin lands demanding action, not mere sympathy. No boastful word left his lips. With a thoughtful gaze seaward, Beowulf chose 15 stout, loyal, and tested companions. They gathered gleaming mail, ancient helms, and spears. Their magnificent longship waited, prow eager to cleave waves. Tide right, winds fair, a divine whisper guiding their purpose. They pushed the ring-proud vessel from sand, timber-creaking. Over the swan's path they glided, the sea road unfolding like destiny. The gold-adorned ship danced upon the gray-blue expanse. Day and night they sailed, keen wind singing, gulls crying. Beowulf stood firm at the helm, eyes scanning, a silent vow etched to bring aid, or meet fate with honor. At last, after a day of sailing, Denmark's cliffs rose, mist-shrouded, a beacon of hope. Sun broke through, casting gold on Spear Dane's shores. As their keel kissed the sands, Hrothgar's watchful coast guard emerged on horseback, shield gleaming, spear raised. His duty clear: protect his lord's land. Who are you warriors in shining mail, guiding this dragon-proud ship across the sea lanes? The watchman boomed, voice echoing waves. Never have I seen men more noble. You come not for plunder, I sense, but your purpose I must know. Beowulf, with a king's calm assurance, dismounted. His voice, strong and true, carried no challenge. We are Geats, loyal thanes of Hygelac. My father Ecgtheow, renowned warrior. We come not as foes, but friends, drawn by dire tales of Grendel, who sorrows Hrothgar's hall. my purpose, my solemn vow, is to offer my strength, my very life, to rid your people of this dread affliction." The watchman seasoned looked deep into Beowulf's eyes. He saw conviction, not arrogance, resolute courage, not recklessness. He saw a hero's mark. "Go forth, brave warrior," he declared, lowering his spear in respect. "Your noble bearing and truthful words speak volumes. I will guard your ship and lead you to Heorot. Go with speed, for a hero's aid is ever welcome in these dark times." Thus their sea journey, a road paved with purpose and shadowed by fate, reached its end. The path to glory, and perhaps greater destiny, now lay on Danish soil. The storyteller's hand beckons you onward, for the tale of Heorot and the monster within truly begins. Chapter 7. The watchmen's challenge the waves, ceaseless messengers of the sea, lapped against the Danish shore, their whisper a stark contrast to the thrum of a great ship's timbers settling into the sand. From its prow, Beowulf, son of Akithio, surveyed the land. Behind him, his 14 Geatish warriors, men of hardened muscle and resolute spirit, stood ready, their gear glinting under the pale northern sun. They had braved the Whale Road, driven by purpose and the grim tidings of Heorot's misery. But before their feet could fully claim the foreign soil, a figure emerged from the coastal mists. A horseman, swift as the wind across the heath, galloped towards them, his spear held high, its point glinting with a challenge. He was the shore watchman, a guardian of the realm, his eyes like an eagle's, sharp and unblinking, sweeping over the unfamiliar ship and its armed crew. His voice, when he finally reined in his steed, was a boom across the quiet beach, laced with the salt spray and the authority of his post. "Who are you, you warriors clad in mail, who have steered your ship so boldly to our shores?" he demanded, his gaze piercing Beowulf. "Never before have foreign shield men landed here with such open might, nor sought my leave. Whence come you, and what is your errand? Speak truly, for I must know your lineage and your intent, lest you bring harm to our land. For too long, our hall Heorot has known sorrow, and our king, Hrothgar, has suffered grievously. Are you friends or foes who seek to exploit our weakness?" Beowulf, with the serene confidence of one born to command, stepped forward, his helm catching the light. He met the watchman's gaze without faltering, his voice clear and resonant, carrying the weight of his noble heritage. "We are Geats, kinsmen of Hygelac, and my name is Beowulf. We have come with a purpose both honorable and urgent. We have heard across the wide waters of a terrible monster, Grendel, who brings ruin and death to the great hall of Heorot, leaving Hrothgar's men bereft. It is our boast, and my firm resolve, to offer counsel and aid to your noble lord, to cleanse his hall of this foul fiend. We seek not strife, but to lay low the bringer of fear and restore peace to the Danes. We come from noble stock, and our deeds shall prove our words." The watchman, a man well versed in judging men by their bearing and their speech, listened intently. He saw not arrogance, but a profound self-assurance, not deceit, but unwavering truth. A faint smile touched his lips, and his spear, once poised in challenge, lowered slightly. A warrior who speaks such words, with such a frame, must be born of noble lineage indeed. "You are welcome, Beowulf, son of Akithio. Your journey has been perilous, but your heart is true. I believe your words, and your purpose rings with honor. Come then, leave your ship under the care of my men, and I shall lead you personally to Hrothgar. He waits in sorrow, but perhaps, with your arrival, a new dawn breaks upon Heorot." And so, the first challenge, one of wit and reputation, was overcome. The path to Heorot, and to destiny, lay open before the hero. Chapter 8. The hero's boast. The scene opens in Heorot, where shadows cling even to the brightest tapestries, a testament to Grendel's enduring terror. The hall is hushed, a heavy anticipation palpable, as the Geatish champion, Beowulf, steps forward. His gaze is steady, meeting the sorrowful, yet hopeful eyes of King Hrothgar. The air seems to thicken, all breath held. "Hail, Hrothgar, king of the Danes! I am Beowulf, son of Akithio, a warrior of Hygelac, my lord and kinsman of the Geats. Great tales of your hall's sorrow, of the monster Grendel's malice, have reached us across the Whale Road. My own people, the wisest among them, urged me to this journey, for they knew the strength of my arm, the cunning of my spirit, and the fortune that has often favored my spear." A ripple passes through the assembled warriors, a mix of awe and perhaps a flicker of doubt at such bold claims. But Beowulf's presence brooks no easy dismissal. It is said that this demon, Grendel, fears no blade, no shield, that he rends men asunder with his bare claws, defiling your noble hall nightly. If this is so, then I declare, before all here and before the Almighty, that I shall not wield sword nor broad shield against him. for it would be a shame, a grave dishonor to my lord Hygelac, if I sought to gain advantage where Grendel, in his brute ignorance, finds none. My bare hands, my grip, the strength God has gifted me, these shall be my weapons. His voice rings with a calm certainty that seems to challenge fate itself. He looks around, his eyes sweeping across the faces, lingering on Hrothgar's. I have faced giants and sea beasts in the dark countless times. 5 monster tribes I bound in chains, driving them from the earth. In the night tide I slew water monsters one by one, staining the waves with their blood. It was a harrowing, lonely vigil, but I emerged victorious, by grace of God, and if Grendel dares to seek out a battle of strength alone, with no steel to aid him, then Beowulf, too, shall meet him without the forged iron. Let the struggle be judged by the Lord, who guides the destinies of men. A collective gasp, quickly stifled, escapes some of the younger men. Hrothgar watches, a profound relief beginning to etch away the lines of worry from his brow, yet the gravity of the boast weighs heavily. Should death claim me in this contest, and Grendel conquer, then send my woven mail shirt, the best of battle garments, back to Hygelac. It is a legacy, a reminder of what was attempted, if not achieved. Let him know his kinsman fell bravely, seeking glory against a monstrous foe. No need for a funeral feast, for the fiend will have feasted enough. Leave my body to the marsh wolf. But rest assured, King, I hold fast to my purpose, to cleanse Heorot of this terror, or to perish in the attempt. The choice is Grendel's, and mine, and the High One's. The hall is silent, save for the crackling of the fire. Beowulf stands, a colossus of resolve, his words hanging in the air like a solemn oath. Hrothgar, overwhelmed, can only nod slowly, his eyes shining with a dawning hope, mingled with the stark realization of the immense sacrifice this Geatish champion is willing to make. Chapter 9. The poison of envy. The mead hall, Heorot, rang with joyous triumph, celebrating Beowulf's arrival and the promise he bore against the Shadow Walker. Benches groaned with warriors, their faces alight with revelry, their hearts buoyed by hope. There sat Beowulf, son of Echitheo, among the Geats, his gaze steady, commanding yet gentle, a hero already etched into the living tapestry of their hall. King Hrothgar, venerable and wise, watched over his people, a rare peace settling upon his furrowed brow. But alas, even in the brightest hall, shadows lurk, not from without, but from within men's hearts. For among the retainers, at the foot of the king's high seat, sat Unferth, the royal orator, whose tongue was ever sharp, and whose heart, it seemed, was consumed by a bitter gall. He could not bear Beowulf's radiant glory. It pricked him, festered, until envy's poison clouded his reason and loosened his speech. With a sudden, jarring interruption, Unferth leaned forward, his eyes narrowed, his voice cutting through the hum of merriment like a winter's blade. "Art thou that Beowulf," he began, "who strove in a swimming match upon the open sea, matching strength with Breca, a foolish contest born of youthful pride? For 7 nights, the waves bore you, battling the currents, until you were dashed ashore, defeated, by all accounts. What madness possessed you to risk such peril for vain glory? And how then, warrior, dost thou expect to face Grendel, when even the wide ocean proved too much for thy boasted might?" A hush fell. The mead horn paused midway to thirsty lips. All eyes turned to Beowulf, waiting, some fearing a retort, others dreading shame. Yet Beowulf remained unmoved, his expression calm as a summer lake. He surveyed Unferth with quiet dignity, and then, his voice resonant and clear, he spoke, not in anger but with the measured certainty of truth. "Friend Unferth," Beowulf countered, "much hast thou spoken, yet thy words are steeped in envy's bitter draught, twisting truth to malice. It was no contest of foolish pride, but a trial of endurance, born of our youth's fiery spirit. Defeated? No, not I. I slew 9 sea monsters during that watery struggle, my sword tasting their lifeblood, protecting Breca, and making safe the ocean paths for all mariners. I was never defeated, I emerged victorious, stronger for the ordeal." Beowulf paused, his gaze fixed not on Unferth's eyes, but on the shame blooming upon his cheeks. "But what of thee, Unferth?" Beowulf continued, his voice now lower, yet piercing. "What glorious deeds hast thou wrought? Didst thou not slay thine own brothers, thy kin, shedding their blood within these very walls? And when Grendel came, terrorizing this hall, where was thy famed courage, thy sharp blade? Thou, who now challenge my renown, hast never dared to face the fiend thyself. Were thy heart as bold as thy tongue, this hall would not have known such long sorrow." Unferth, stripped bare by Beowulf's honest words, shrank into himself. His face, once flushed with envious scorn, now paled with humiliation. The hall erupted in a murmur of approval, a tide of renewed respect for Beowulf, whose wisdom matched his strength, and who had skillfully turned the venom of envy back upon its source. Truly, a jealous heart's poison is a dangerous brew, blinding even the most trusted counselor, until a greater light reveals its folly. Chapter 10. The eve of battle. As twilight's purple cloak settled over the world, drawing long phantom shadows across the Danish fens, a different kind of darkness began to stir. Not the gentle descent of evening, but a malevolence born of the bog and the shadow, a hunger that had festered in the desolation. Grendel, that hellish fiend, began his terrible journey towards Heorot. His heart, if such a creature possessed one, thrummed with a grotesque glee, a savage anticipation. He knew the path well, worn smooth by his own countless monstrous forays. He envisioned the hall, warm with sleep, ripe with easy prey, completely oblivious to the extraordinary vigilance that awaited him. From the fen, across the open moor, his noiseless tread devoured the distance. The wind whispered secrets through the rushes, but Grendel heard only the roar of his own murderous intent. He saw the gleaming roof of Heorot, a beacon against the darkening sky, and mistook its light for an invitation to his ghastly feast. Little did he know, this night, the Golden Hall would be a snare, a crucible where true courage would be forged in fire. Within Heorot's grand, timbered walls, the Danes, in their trusting sleep, lay oblivious to the impending terror, their dreams untroubled by the doom creeping ever closer. But not all slept. A small band of Geats, led by the peerless Beowulf, kept a grim, silent watch. They were men prepared, their muscles coiled, their minds sharp as honed blades. Beowulf himself, a titan of strength and unwavering resolve, lay there, but his eyes were open, his spirit alert. He trusted in his own vast strength, a gift from the Almighty, but more so, he trusted in the rightness of his cause. He understood the profound gravity of this vigil, this stand against the ancient, godless evil that had tormented Hrothgar's people for so long. He was not merely waiting for a monster, he was awaiting a confrontation with the very essence of chaos, a battle for the soul of Heorot, for the promise of peace and order against the endless night. The air grew heavy, thick with unspoken dread, and the electric hum of impending conflict. The monster, now but a stone's throw from the hall, drew nearer, his senses alight with the scent of man. He pushed against the great oak door, believing himself the hunter, unaware that he was about to become the hunted. The eve of battle was upon them, a stillness pregnant with unspeakable violence, a moment poised on the knife edge of destiny. The hall, once a place of joy, now held its breath, ready to witness a reckoning. Chapter 11. The unbreakable grip. And so, as the twilight deepened into the profound blackness of a northern night, a hush descended upon Heorot. The Danes, heavy with ale, and the false sense of security Beowulf's presence offered, slumbered fitfully. But one man lay awake, his heart a steady drum, his eyes discerning every shadow, every shift in the air. Beowulf, son of Echitheo, awaited. From the fenlands across the misty moor came Grendel. He approached, a fiend born of Cain's curse, his purpose clear to feast on human flesh, to sate his monstrous hunger in the hallowed hall. The heavy doors, barred and bolted by men, were no more than tinder to his brute force. He burst in, his eyes blazing with hellish glee, scanning the rows of sleeping warriors. He seized the first man, a sleeping Geat, ripping him limb from limb, devouring him whole, a grim prelude to his night's grisly work. Then his gaze fell upon Beowulf, who lay still, feigning slumber. The monster's heart swelled with savage joy, believing he had found an easy victim. He reached out, his clawed hand closing around Beowulf's arm. But this was no ordinary man. This was Beowulf, whose strength was renowned, whose will was iron. With a sudden, explosive surge, Beowulf gripped Grendel's arm in return, not with sword or shield, for he had vowed to meet this fiend bare-handed, as Grendel fought. And what a grip it was! A vice forged in the fires of courage and righteous anger, a hold that astonished even the monster who had terrorized a kingdom for 12 long years. Grendel had never encountered such a force. His flesh lust turned to terror. He struggled, roared, thrashed with a desperate, unholy fury. The mighty Heorot groaned, its gilded timbers straining, its intricate joinery threatening to burst apart under the seismic violence of their struggle. Mead benches splintered, wall hangings tore, and the cries of the thrashing monster mingled with the shouts of terrified Danes, jolted awake from their nightmares to a waking horror. The fiend's only thought was escape, to flee back to his fen lair, to the dark safety of his mother's embrace. But Beowulf's grip held fast. It was an unbreakable bond, forged not of steel but of spirit. Muscle strained against monster, sinew against sinew, bone against hellish bone. The struggle was agonizing, primal, a clash of primal forces where good and evil met head-on, unshielded. Slowly, agonizingly, Grendel began to yield. His arm, caught in Beowulf's iron vice, stretched, twisted, and tore. A sickening sound like the rending of mighty oak echoed through the hall. Blood, black and foul, gushed forth as Grendel's arm, shoulder and all, ripped free from his body. With a final, piteous shriek, the maimed fiend fled, leaving a trail of gore and his severed limb the trophy of a knight's victory behind him. Beowulf stood victorious, his grip still clenched, now empty save for the monster's proof. The nightmare was over. The unbroken grip had saved Heorot. Chapter 12. A trophy for the rafters, the first kiss of dawn, hesitant and pale, began to steal across the moorlands, chasing away the last lingering shadows of a night steeped in terror. With it came a stirring of the Danish folk, those who had huddled in fear, dreading the inevitable wail from Heorot that never came. A nervous murmur rippled through the village, then a cautious venture forth, their steps hesitant, their eyes fixed on the great hall. No screams, no lamentations, only an eerie, profound silence. But as the sun climbed higher, casting its golden light upon the hallowed walls, a gasp of collective awe erupted. There, before the polished doors, was no carnage, no further sign of the fiend's dreadful feast. Instead, a trail, dark and viscous, leading away into the mere fens, a testament to a desperate, wounded retreat. And then, their eyes were drawn to the hall itself, to the very entrance where Beowulf, the Geat, stood, not triumphant in a boastful way, but with the quiet resolve of one who has faced the abyss and returned. And in his wake, within Heorot's hallowed space, a sight to curdle the blood yet ignite the spirit. High upon the spear beams, fastened securely to the very rafters that had known only dread and the monster's shadow, hung Grendel's arm. Not merely a limb, but a ghastly monument to evil vanquished. Imagine it, if you will, the shoulder sinew, ripped from its socket with unimaginable force, still quivering with the residual power of a creature born of hell. The skin, thick and scaled, stretched taut, bearing the marks of Beowulf's grip, a testament to the iron strength that had wrestled such a horror into submission. Each talon finger, sharp as a hunter's claw, still seemed poised to strike, though now limp and lifeless, forever robbed of its destructive might. Blood, dark and congealed, matted the matted hairs, and the grotesque hand itself, larger than any human's, hung like a grim banner. It was a trophy beyond price, not of gold or jewels, but of peace restored. Hrothgar himself, seeing it, felt the weight of years of torment lift from his weary shoulders. His people, gazing upon that fearsome relic, understood not just victory, but liberation. It was a tangible promise, a stark warning to any unseen evil that might yet lurk in the desolate lands Heorot was protected. Its protector was a hero whose strength defied belief, and whose deed had marked the dawn of a new, hopeful age for the Danes. The arm, dripping and gruesome, became a beacon of courage, a legend whispered and seen, forever enshrined in the rafters, a perpetual reminder of the night Beowulf saved them all. Chapter 13. A mother's vengeance, the revelry of Heorot, but hours before a symphony of triumph, lay shattered. Deep in the night, when the warriors, tired from their feasting and celebration, had yielded to sleep, a shadow stirred. Not Grendel, for he was lifeless, but a terror far more ancient, more primal, his mother. Her heart, a cauldron of grief and rage, pulsed with but one purpose: vengeance. The joy of the Danes, the pride in their hero, was an open wound to her soul. She knew the way to the hall, its guarded gates no match for a sorrow-fueled fury. She slipped through the unsuspecting throngs, her grotesque form moving with a swift, predatory grace that belied her monstrous bulk. Her eyes, twin embers of hatred, scanned the sleeping warriors. She sought no indiscriminate slaughter, but a reckoning. Her gaze settled upon Esher, Hrothgar's most beloved companion, his trusted counselor, his right hand in counsel and combat. He lay there, venerable and unaware, a symbol of all Grendel had despised. With a swift, brutal snatch, she seized him, tearing him from his resting place. No hero was there to challenge her. Beowulf himself lodged in a separate chamber, honoring the customs for his honored guest status. Just as silently as she had entered, she departed, leaving behind a profound silence punctuated only by the fading echo of her monstrous tread. Yet, before she vanished into the night, she reclaimed a grim trophy: Grendel's severed arm, the very proof of Beowulf's victory, now a grim memento mori of her son. The next morning, when the sun, hesitant and pale, cast its first light upon Heorot, the grim discovery was made. The hall was empty, save for the horrifying stains of fresh blood and the absence of Esher. Hrothgar, the wise and mighty king, was inconsolable. His voice, usually resonating with authority, was now a fractured whisper, heavy with despair. He had lost his dearest friend, his brother in arms, to the vengeful claw of a she-devil. The victory over Grendel felt hollow, a fleeting reprieve from an eternal dread. The ancient curse upon his house, it seemed, was not yet lifted. "Alas, Beowulf," he cried, his eyes sunken with grief, "our joy was short-lived. A new terror has risen, born of sorrow and ancient malice. She has taken Esher, the dearest to me, and now my spirit is broken." But Beowulf, ever the paragon of courage, stood firm. His heart, though heavy with the king's sorrow, burned with renewed resolve. "Grieve not, O king," he declared, his voice a steady rock in the turbulent sea of despair. "It is better to avenge our friends than to mourn them endlessly. Let us follow this fiend. I swear by the heavens, she shall not escape me into the dark places of the earth. We shall hunt her, find her lair, and bring swift justice." And so, Beowulf, with Hrothgar and a company of brave Danes, set forth. They followed the trail of her monstrous flight, through shadowed paths and across desolate moors, until they reached the edge of a fearsome mere. A place of utter desolation, where twisted trees, their roots snaking like vipers, clung to the crags. The water, dark as pitch, churned with unseen evils, and from its depths rose a mist that clung to the air like a shroud. Serpent-like creatures, foul and scaly, writhed in the oppressive silence. And there, at the water's edge, a gruesome testament to her wrath, lay Esher's head, a stark, terrible warning of the horrors that awaited Beowulf below. The mother's vengeance had brought them to the very gates of hell. Chapter 14. The descent into the mere. Listen now, for sorrow's shadow fell anew upon Heorot, a gloom thicker than night itself. The dawn, meant for victory's lightness, instead revealed horror. Esher, the king's trusted counselor, snatched by the fen wolf. His severed head, a gruesome token, marked the accursed mere's edge. King Hrothgar, aged and broken, turned to Beowulf, his voice heavy with marrow-deep grief. "Thou alone, Beowulf," he pleaded, "canst seek this wickedness. This mere is no ordinary pool, but a forsaken wilderness, shrouded by dark, clinging roots and icy cliffs, where mist ever broods and no light dares tread. Even the hunted hart perishes on shore rather than plunge its abyssal waters. Deep within lives the fiend, an unholy mother, avenging her son. If any man purges this evil, it is you, son of Ecthio." Beowulf, ever steadfast, met Hrothgar's despair with unwavering resolve. "Grieve not, wise king," he declared, his voice a steady rock. "Better to avenge than mourn endlessly. Let us hasten to her lair. Wherever she hides, she shall not escape me. Hold fast to hope, for this day sees justice, or I perish trying." With these words, a grim procession began. Hrothgar led Beowulf and his Geats through desolate moorlands, past gnarled trees, until the mere's edge. There, a blood-curdling sight, Esher's head, chillingly placed at the brink, a silent testament to cruelty. The water boiled with unnatural life, grotesque serpents and strange sea dragons writhed, their scales gleaming. One beast, disturbed, met a swift end from a Geatish arrow, pulled ashore, its hideous form for all to see. Then, a moment of grace amidst horror. Unferth, who once challenged Beowulf with jealous words, now stepped forward humbled. He offered his ancestral sword, Hrunting, a blade never known to fail. Beowulf accepted it, his gaze reflecting quiet understanding. He donned his war gear, mail shirt-proof against the fiend's grasp. He looked upon his loyal Geats, giving solemn instructions should he not return, their safety, their treasures entrusted to Hrothgar. Then, with a prayer to the Almighty for strength, and a heart aflame with purpose, Beowulf, protector of men, took a mighty leap, plunging into the dark, churning depths of the mere, into evil's maw. The waters closed, swallowing the champion, leaving only ripples and the profound silence of anticipation. The descent had begun. Chapter 15. Battle in the underworld. The murky waters parted as Beowulf plunged, a human spear piercing the mere's dark heart. Down, down he sank through the chilling grasp of the lake's surface, past grotesque creatures, their teeth blunted by his famed mail. The weight of the world pressed upon him, but within his breast, a fierce Geatish fire burned. He sought retribution, justice for Esher. Then, from the gloom, a shadow lunged. Grendel's mother, a monstrosity of primordial malice. Her talons, sharp as forgotten anguish, seized him, dragging him to her foul underwater hall, a cavern where water dared not penetrate, lit by an eerie, flickering glow. Here, in this dreadful den, where ancient evils festered, the true battle began. Hrunting Unferth's blade rose and fell, striking the hag's monstrous head. But to Beowulf's shock, the renowned steel, hardened in blood and fire, failed him utterly. It could not pierce her corrupted flesh. A grim realization seized the hero. This was no ordinary foe, no mere mortal beast. This was a direct assault on the very fabric of his being, a test of strength and spirit. He cast aside the useless sword. His bare hands, strong enough to crush 30 men, grappled with the fiend. They wrestled, a desperate dance of death, amidst the echoing stone. She bore him down, her hideous weight pressing the breath from his lungs. Her daggers, keen as a serpent's tooth, flashed, aiming for his throat, his heart. Only his Biani, forged by Welland's kin, saved him from instant doom. Fate, it seemed, still had a purpose for the son of Atithio. Pinned, seemingly vanquished, Beowulf's eyes darted, desperate for any salvation. And then he saw it, a sword of colossal size, wrought by giants in a forgotten age, hanging on the wall. Its hilt was a masterpiece, its blade radiant with ancient magic. With a surge of strength born of despair and divine will, he tore free, snatching the weapon. The air crackled with its power. He swung it high, a prayer on his lips, a roaring challenge in his soul. The blade descended with a thunderclap, cleaving through the hag's neck, severing bone and sinew. Her monstrous body slumped, life draining into her lair's eerie glow. The battle, though harrowing, was won. But Beowulf's wrath was not sated. His eyes fell upon Grendel's lifeless corpse near his mother, a testament to their shared corruption. With another mighty swing, he lopped off the monster's head, a gruesome trophy. The giant's sword, having fulfilled its purpose, began to melt like ice in a summer sun, its ancient magic expended. Only the hilt remained, a testament to the victory. Up he swam, the waters boiling and churned by the fiend's death throes, carrying the grotesque heads. Above, the Danes, watching the mere, had long given him up for lost. Only his loyal Geats, steadfast as ancient stones, remained, their hopes dwindling, yet their courage unyielding. He emerged, a titan, from the depths, bearing proof of victory, forever cementing his legend. Chapter 16. The Giant's Sword. Ah, my friends, listen now to a tale that chills the marrow, a venture into shadowed depths where only our peerless Beowulf dared. The murky mere, a place of dread, swallowed him. Down he plunged, a stone into a bottomless well, for a full hour, through cold, crushing water, until he reached the monstrous mother's lair. She, the fiend's dam, heart-black with vengeance, swift as a serpent, seized him, talons digging deep. Beowulf, armored by destiny and finest mail, felt not the rending, though she dragged him, a prize, into her accursed hall. There, in that cavernous den, beyond the mere's waters, a desperate struggle began. He swung Hrunting, his famed blade, with all might, aiming for her wicked head. But alas, that hateful place or her foul hide turned the edge. Hrunting failed, the trusted sword betrayed him. Despair threatened. He cast aside the useless blade, his bare hands now his only weapon against the she-wolf of the abyss. She wrestled him, intent on crushing his life. Her rusty, blood-stained knife sought to pierce his glorious mail shirt. But woven rings, crafted with ancient skill, held fast, protecting the warrior. She had him pinned, her hateful gaze fixed. Beowulf knew only a miracle, or the Almighty, could save him from this watery grave. And lo, in that instant, as strength waned, his sharp eyes caught sight of it. Upon the wall, among giant weapons, hung a sword unlike any mortal craft. So immense, so mighty, no ordinary man could wield it. A relic of an older age, forged by giants, imbued with power. Hope, fierce and bright, surged. With a final burst of superhuman strength, Beowulf tore free. He lunged, his hand closing upon the colossal hilt, its cold metal a promise of salvation. He swung that mighty blade, a shining arc of doom, with a force born of desperation and divine inspiration. It bit deep, severing her wretched neck, splitting bone and sinew. Her lifeblood, venomous and black, spurted, and she fell a lifeless mass. Her reign of terror ended. Then a light, bright as the sun, filled that dark cavern, banishing shadows, a testament to triumph. His gaze fell upon Grendel's still form, severed arm and all, the hero's task unfinished. He lopped off the monster's head with the mighty blade, a final vengeance. But the foul creature's blood, so potent in its evil, was more than even that giant sword could withstand. The blade, touched by virulent Ixer, melted like ice in a summer sun, until only the golden hilt remained, a testament to Beowulf's deed. He seized the hilt, and Grendel's severed head, beginning his long ascent, a hero reborn from Hell's maw. Chapter 17. The heroes return, setting the great hall of Horut, where a solemn quiet now hangs. Dawn's first light filters through the high windows, touching polished wood and stacked treasures. And so, after deeds of dreadful magnificence, the moment arrived for Beowulf and his Geats to bid farewell to Horut, to turn their keel homeward across the Whale Road. The champion stood before King Hrothgar, whose ancient eyes, though sorrowful, shone with undying admiration. It was not merely a guest departing, but a figure of destiny, a bulwark against the shadows that had haunted Denmark. "Go forth, peerless Beowulf," Hrothgar began, his voice thick with deep emotion. "Best of all warriors I have known beneath the breadth of the sky. Your deeds have forever interwoven the fates of our peoples, Geats and Danes, in a bond of friendship that time shall never unravel it. I foresee no greater leader, no just a king, rising in all the wide world. Should spear gleam of war ever cast its shadow upon your lands, know that my heart and aid will swiftly be yours. And should Denmark face new darkness, you, my son, are the one upon whom I would call, with unwavering hope. He clasped Beowulf in a fierce, lingering embrace, a father's deep love and respect shining clear in his tear-filled eyes. He bestowed upon him 12 more treasures, priceless heirlooms, and charged him to ever remember their sacred bond. A bittersweet sadness settled upon all who witnessed this farewell, for it was the end of a unique epoch, the parting of men whose destinies had intertwined with heroism. The Geats, doubly laden with gleaming gold and hard-won glory, marched from Heorot's gates. Their swift ship, sleek and ready, bobbed by the shore. The mast rose like a sentinel, its sail eager to embrace the driving wind. The horse hooves hammered, war gear clattered, and soon with a final, resonant shout to the weeping Danes, Beowulf and his men boarded their vessel. The waves whispered as the ship cut through the sea, a foam-necked wanderer, bearing its heroes back to the green shores of Geatland. Days turned into nights as the strong keel cleaved the ocean's currents. Their thoughts, no longer fixed on the terror of Heorot, now turned instead to the welcoming halls of Hygelac, their noble king, and his gracious queen, Hygd. Beowulf's heart swelled with anticipation of reporting his deeds, of sharing the epic tale of Grendel's demise and the mother's watery grave, of the shimmering treasures earned, and the bond forged with the Danes. His arduous journey, once fraught with peril, had transformed into a triumphant procession, bringing not only vast riches but immeasurable pride and hope to his own people. The hero was truly returning, the sea paths behind him, his renown preceding him like a powerful gale, a beacon of strength for his beloved land. He knew Hygelac would listen intently, and all the Geats would then rejoice in the valor of their champion, their steadfast protector, their very own Beowulf. Chapter 18, 50 Years of Peace. The waves that had carried Beowulf back to Geatland, bearing tales of monstrous deeds and shining gold, now merely lapped against the shores of a land at peace. It was a time that would be sung of for generations, a golden age etched into the very soul of the Geatish folk. Upon his triumphant return from Denmark, Beowulf, ever the paragon of loyalty, laid his hard-won treasures before his kinsman, King Hygelac. He recounted his epic struggle with Grendel and his mother, not boasting, but with a warrior's humble truth. Queen Hygd, admiring his valor and prudence, offered him the throne, sensing his inherent kingliness even then. But Beowulf, his heart beating true to his lord, gently refused. His place was as a steadfast shield for his king, a loyal champion, not a usurper of the crown. He served Hygelac with unwavering devotion, his mighty arm ever ready to defend their realm. Years passed, bringing both joy and sorrow. Hygelac fell in battle, leaving his young son, Heardred, to wear the crown. Beowulf, ever the guardian, stood by the youthful king, lending his wisdom and strength, shielding the Geats from threatening neighbors. When Heardred, too, met a warrior's end in the throes of a fierce conflict, the Geatish chieftains, with one voice, turned to their most proven and revered warrior. Not with shouts of conquest, but with a quiet, knowing assent, they called Beowulf to the throne. And so began an era of unparalleled tranquility. For 50 winters, the poets would sing, Beowulf ruled his people. His hand was strong, but guided by an unyielding wisdom. His gaze was stern to any who dared cast a covetous eye upon Geatland, yet gentle and just to his own. Under his watchful reign, the hearths of the Geats burned bright with warmth and plenty. The ships of traders sailed safely, the farmers tilled their fields without fear of raid. No shadowed enemy dared cross their borders, no foreign host disturbed their slumber. It was an age when a father could teach his son to mend nets without the constant shadow of impending war, when mothers spun wool knowing their hearths were secure, when the very earth seemed to yield its bounty more freely under the watchful eye of their king. The people knew peace, a deep, abiding peace, forged by the strength and character of their beloved monarch. Yet, even the longest, sunniest day must yield to dusk. Even the deepest peace, like a calm sea, holds within it the potential for a coming storm, a restless current beneath the placid surface. For 50 years, the dragon of war, of true, devastating conflict, had slept. And men perhaps grew a little too comfortable in their quiet prosperity, forgetting the vigilance that had forged their golden age. Chapter 19. The dragon wakes. And so, for 50 winters, the good King Beowulf held his throne, a shield and a bulwark for his Geatish folk. Prosperity bloomed, and the sound of the Scop's harp mingled with the laughter of children, undisturbed by the shadow of ancient evils. Peace, a precious thing, was woven into the very fabric of their days. But even the strongest threads can fray, and the grandest tapestries hold secrets in their folds. Far from the warmth of hearth and hall, in the cold heart of a forgotten heath, lay an old barrow, overgrown with the moss of centuries. Within, a treasure of immense worth, gold beyond measure, lay guarded by a creature born of fire and night, a formidable dragon, whose slumber had endured for 300 years. Now it came to pass that a miserable wretch, a thrall fleeing the harsh hand of his master, stumbled upon this desolate mound. Driven by desperate hunger, by the gnawing dread of freedom's bitter taste, he sought refuge, a hiding place from the world's cruel gaze. Fate, or perhaps a darker hand, guided his trembling steps through a hidden crevice into the stifling darkness of the dragon's lair. His eyes, accustomed to the gloom, beheld a sight that froze his very breath. Gleaming hoards, swords etched with forgotten runes, golden cups heavy with history. In his terror, in his bewildering desperation, he snatched but one golden goblet, a vessel of intricate craft, and fled back into the harsh light of day. He sought only to appease his lord, to buy a fleeting moment of grace, perhaps even forgiveness. But beneath the gleaming pile, a tremor ran through the sleeping beast. A cold draft, a subtle shift in the air, a whisper of violation. The dragon stirred. Its ancient eyelids, like plates of hardened bronze, slowly lifted. Centuries of sleep sloughed away as it inhaled the tainted air, sensing the disturbance. Its gaze, once clouded by dreams of fire, sharpened, focusing on the emptiness where the shining goblet had rested. A low growl, deeper than the earth's foundations, rumbled in its throat, swelling into a terrible shriek that tore through the quiet heath. Rage, cold and burning as the deepest forge, consumed its being. 300 years of undisturbed guardianship, shattered by a mortal's clumsy hand. The theft was not merely of gold, it was an affront to its eternal vigil, a challenge to its very nature. The dragon knew. It knew the scent of man, the fleeting nature of their kind. The Geats had dared to disturb its rest, to pilfer its ancient wealth. The slumber of ages was over. Vengeance, hot and absolute, would be its only course. The night would fall, and with it, the shadow of its fiery wings, casting its terrible judgment upon the unsuspecting halls of the Geatish king. The peace was broken, irrevocably, by the glint of stolen gold. Chapter 20. The final boast. Beowulf, mortally wounded, leaned against the cold stone, the dragon's poison scorching his veins. Wiglaf, his kinsman, knelt by him, face grim with soot and sorrow, offering what little water remained. The air hung heavy with burnt hide and blood. A chill seeps into these old bones. Wiglaf, Beowulf whispered, his voice weighted with ages. My life's sword edge is dulled. My time for feasting in men's halls is done. He gazed at the gray sky, visible through the cavern's mouth, a sky that had seen his battles won. You stood by me, brave heart, in my final hour, proving yourself worthy of gold-rich land and warriors' praise. You are the last of our Weegmunding kin. A rattling sigh escaped him. My life was long, full of strife, yet never did I unjustly seek another's ruin. Never drew sword on kinsmen, never forged lies or broke sacred oaths to bring downfall. My hands are clean of such dark deeds. My soul is clear, unburdened by kin murder's shame. A pause, wrestling with finality. I kept watch over this folk, defended Hearthguard from night prowlers and spear flight. Though no son inherits my halls, no kin bears my name, I lived honorably. I governed well, upheld law, knew no quarrel of my own making. His dimming gaze found Wiglaf's. Go quickly, Wiglaf. Bring forth some of the dragon's hoard, these gleaming jewels and ancient armaments. Let me gaze upon them with dying eyes, these wonders bought with my life's blood. Let me see this victory's price, that I may pass knowing my folk richer for my sacrifice, their sorrow lightened by this gold. Wiglaf, tears streaming, vanished into the gloom. Beowulf closed his eyes, mind replaying his life's tapestry. Sea road waves, monster's grip, Darkmere, Horat's glory, each memory a sacred bead. He felt life ebb, a tide receding. When Wiglaf returned, laden with glittering cups, golden banners and battle gear, Beowulf's eyes fluttered open. A faint smile touched his lips. Give thanks to the wielder of all, King of glory, that I saw this before my end. These treasures are now yours, Wiglaf, and the burden of rule. See to my people. Build for me, upon the headland by the sea, a great mound, high and broad, so seafarers, driving deep-keeled ships, may call it Beowulf's Barrow. Let it stand as a memorial to one who sought renown and kept faith till his last breath. His voice faded, a whisper. My spirit yearns for its true home. My work is done. His gnarled hand tightened once, then relaxed. Breath left him, a final, weary exhalation. The brave heart of the Geats stilled. The great ring-giver dragon slayer lay lifeless. Silence descended, broken only by Wiglaf's sob. The legacy sealed, boast fulfilled, not in arrogance, but in truth. The hero had gone home. Chapter 21. The last battle after many winters, silver-bearded Beowulf, Geat King, faced his ultimate challenge. A fire drake blighted his land. Old, yet fire rekindled, he donned armor, not for glory, but duty. He spoke his last boast and set forth to the dragon's barrow, choked with sulfur and wrath, air thick with dread. Beowulf, at the barrow, roared challenge into darkness. Dragon emerged, scales shimmering gold, eyes burning coals. Terrifying, it lunged, an inferno, spitting flame. Beowulf raised iron shield, but dragon's breath was a forged shield warped, blackened, wood charring, iron melting. His companions' men he'd led faltered, fear coiled. They fled, abandoning their king. All but one Wiglaf, a young thane, watched in horror. Shame burned hotter than dragon fire. He remembered gifts, feasts. Shall we stand by and watch our king perish? With a shout, he grasped shield and sword, defying cowardice, plunging back, a solitary beacon of loyalty. Beowulf, shield gone, felt crushing assault. His sword, needling, struck but shattered. Despair flickered, but Wiglaf was at his side, shield raised, sword flashing. Together they pressed. Wiglaf struck low, distracting beast. Beowulf, summoning strength, drew war knife. Dragon lunged, fangs sinking deep into Beowulf's neck, poison burning. In that desperate moment, Beowulf plunged his knife into its underbelly, piercing its heart. A final roar, it thrashed, then collapsed lifeless. Dragon slain, but at terrible cost. Beowulf, mortally wounded, slumped, life ebbing. Wiglaf, kneeling, tried to staunch blood, grief on his face. King, voice a whisper, spoke of people, legacy, pyre. He fought his last battle, defended his people, upheld his oath. A life of valor, ending in sacrifice. Courage of one, loyalty of another, sealed not just Worm's fate, but era's end, a final, poignant testament to heroism. Chapter 22. The price of gold. A hero's funeral. The great king lay silent, his spirit fled to the hall of the wielder. Beside him, the monstrous dragon, slayer of many, also lay still, its scales cooling against the earth, its fiery breath quenched forever. But triumph was a bitter fruit that day, steeped in the profound tears of a leaderless folk. Wiglaf, loyal to the last, knelt beside his lord, his heart a cavern of sorrow, gazing upon the pallor of a face that had once glowed with unmatched valor. He commanded then, with a voice choked by grief and the dust of battle, that a party be sent to behold the dragon's hoard, the very gold for which Beowulf had yielded his breath. And when they returned, bearing glittering cups and ancient helms, gleaming arm rings and banners woven with threads of light, the Geats gazed upon it with mixed awe and dread. For every gleam of gold, they saw the crimson stain of their king's blood. This was the dragon's price, paid not by the thieving slave, but by the truest heart among them. The treasure was magnificent, yes, but it bore the heavy curse of death, a stark reminder that even the greatest wealth comes at an immeasurable cost. What worth had a golden goblet when the hand that would hold it was stilled forever? A pyre was raised, vast and towering, for the fallen king, a funeral pyre fit for a god among men. Logs of oak and ash were piled high, creating a platform. Beowulf's body, prepared with solemn rites, was laid upon it, clad in his finest war gear. Around him, at Wiglaf's command, was placed much of the dragon's treasure, that which Beowulf had won for his people. Golden helmets, shining shields, the very gold that had sparked the beast's wrath, now destined to burn with the hero. Then the lament began. A Geatish woman, her hair unbound and her spirit broken, sang a song of sorrow, of the king's passing, and the coming woes for their people. Her voice, a mournful dirge, echoed across the moor, speaking of invasion, captivity, and death without their protector. The flames kissed the wood, then devoured it, rising towards the heavens, consuming the body of the greatest Geat, transforming flesh and gold into ash and smoke. For 10 long days, the Geats toiled, raising a mighty barrow upon the headland, a beacon visible to all who sailed the whale road. Within its sacred mound, they interred the remaining gold, burying it deep, returning the dragon's hoard to the earth from whence it came, a final memorial to Beowulf's boundless fame. It stood as a testament to his glory, yet also a silent marker of the terrible price paid for that glittering heap, a hero's life exchanged for cursed gold. His memory would endure, etched in stone and song, a beacon across the ages, but the land was left to mourn its shield, its guardian gone. Welcome, kindred spirit, to a journey unlike any other. You hold in your hands not merely a retelling of ancient verses, but a gauntlet thrown, a call to arms for the hero within. For too long, tales of valor have remained distant echoes, locked in the sagas of old. Now, we unlock them, not to merely admire, but to live them. The 7-day Beowulf challenge is precisely what it sounds like, a week-long immersion, a crucible designed to forge the steel of your character. Each day, we'll draw a thread from Beowulf's monumental epic, not as a dusty relic, but as a vibrant, living lesson. We're not seeking to replicate his monstrous feats, but to understand the spirit that drove them, and to awaken that same spirit within you. Consider day 1, for instance. We face Grendel. Your Grendel might not stalk mead halls, but perhaps it's the procrastination that steals your productive hours, the self-doubt that whispers defeat, or the fear that paralyzes your potential. On this day, we'll identify your particular monster and arm ourselves with Beowulf's unyielding courage to confront it, not with a sword, but with a conscious decision to act. Later in the week, we'll explore the unwavering loyalty Beowulf displayed to Hrothgar, a loyalty that transcended reward, born purely of honor and duty. What commitments do you hold sacred? To whom, or what, are you bound by an unspoken vow? We'll delve into strengthening those bonds, understanding that true heroism often lies in unwavering dedication to something larger than oneself. Or think of day 5, battling Grendel's mother, the second wind, the resilience born from sheer will when all seems lost. We'll find your inner strength when faced with seemingly insurmountable odds, learning to persevere even when the grip of despair tightens. This isn't about transforming into a warrior of old. It's about cultivating the virtues that made Beowulf legendary: courage, integrity, resilience, leadership, and a steadfast heart. It's about recognizing that the epic struggle isn't confined to ancient battlefields. It plays out daily in our choices, our responses, our quiet victories, and our public stands. By week's end, you will not only have walked alongside Beowulf, but you will have discovered parts of yourself you perhaps never knew existed, parts capable of overcoming your personal monsters, standing firm in your convictions, and ultimately, forging your own heroic legacy. Are you ready to answer the call? The challenge begins now. 3 truths from the heroic age gather round, my friends, and let us cast our minds back, not just to the misty fens and roaring mead halls of Beowulf, but to the very essence of what that tale, that great lament and triumph, whispers across the ages. For in its heart, as in all great sagas, lie not mere events, but profound truths hammered out in the crucible of a truly heroic age, yet still ringing clear for us today. The first truth, stark as a winter morning, is this: life is a fragile, fleeting flame, constantly assailed by shadows. Beowulf himself, for all his monstrous strength, his legendary prowess, was but a man. We saw him conquer Grendel, then Grendel's dam, then the dragon, each victory a temporary reprieve, never a permanent end to sorrow or the inevitable chill of the grave. His youth, his might, his very breath were gifts lent, not owned. How many kings, how many warriors mighty in their day are now but dust upon the wind? Their gold crumbles, their halls fall silent. This epic reminds us that even the greatest among us, those whose names echo through eternity, are bound by the same finite thread. It's a somber truth perhaps, but one that imbues every act of courage with an even deeper significance. Which brings us, quite naturally, to the second truth: the enduring power of courage, loyalty, and an honorable name forged through deeds. If life is fleeting, then what defines us? Not the length of our days, but the weight of our actions. Beowulf chose not a life of ease, but one of perilous purpose. He crossed the Whale Road, not for wealth, but for glory, for duty, to succor a suffering people. His loyalty to Hrothgar, his selfless sacrifice for his own Geats, these are the stones upon which his legend is built. And Wiglaf, a lone spark of unwavering fealty in the face of despair, proving that even in the darkest hour, true allegiance shines brightest. It's not about avoiding death, but about how you face it, how you live before it comes, leaving behind a name that inspires, a legacy of noble spirit. That, they knew, was the only true immortality. And finally, the third truth, the one that binds the others and sets the stage for all human drama, the eternal conflict between order and chaos, good and evil, and the heavy burden placed upon those who stand in the breach. Grendel, his mother, the dragon, these were not merely beasts, they were embodiments of destructive malice, of the encroaching darkness that ever seeks to unravel the tapestry of civilization. Beowulf, then, becomes more than a warrior. He is the champion of humanity, the shield against the encroaching night. His fight is our fight, a perpetual struggle to carve out spaces of light and safety against the encroaching shadows. It reminds us that society is a delicate construct, constantly needing defenders, needing those willing to bear the weight of responsibility, to face down the monsters, both external and within, for the sake of the common good. It's a truth that demands vigilance, courage, and a recognition that the fight for a better world is never truly over. These are the echoes from the heroic age, resonating still. Not just tales of dragons and gold, but profound insights into our shared human condition, offering wisdom that time cannot diminish. Friends, fellow travelers through the ancient halls of heroism, we have journeyed far indeed. We've walked alongside Beowulf, felt the terror of Grendel's shadow across Heorot, the fierce despair of his vengeful mother, and the devastating, golden fury of the dragon. We've witnessed a man rise, not just to power, but to principle, a king defined not by his crown alone, but by the unwavering flame that burned within his very heart, illuminating the darkest corners of despair. Now, as the last echoes of this epic resonate within us, a profound challenge emerges from the silence. The monsters Beowulf faced were of tooth and claw, scale and shadow. Our monsters, perhaps, are more insidious: the creeping apathy that numbs our resolve, the cold cynicism that freezes our compassion, the quiet resignation that threatens to extinguish the very light of courage and truth in our modern world. Beowulf's saga, so masterfully rendered into our tongue by Lesslie Hall, is far more than a mere recounting of battles long past. It is a vital beacon, a living ember. The fire that animated Beowulf, that fueled his every noble deed and self-sacrifice, was the fierce loyalty to his people, the audacious courage to stand against overwhelming darkness, and the unwavering belief in justice that transcended personal gain. He lit a path for all who would follow, forging a legacy of indomitable spirit. This chapter, "Keep the Fire Burning," is not a gentle suggestion, it is a profound command, a resonant whisper echoing across the centuries, reaching out from the mists of antiquity directly to us. It asks of each of us, what will you do with the timeless lessons woven into these verses? Will Beowulf's tale become a quaint, dusty relic on a forgotten shelf, or will its vibrant, primal flame ignite a similar, unyielding passion within your own soul, sparking action in the everyday? To keep this sacred fire burning means to embrace a measure of that Beowulfian spirit in our daily lives, however small our battles may seem. It means standing firm for what is right, even when the tide of opinion turns against us. It means protecting the vulnerable, not necessarily with a forged sword, but with the shield of empathy, the spear of advocacy, and the armor of unwavering support. It means confronting the dragons of our own age: ignorance, injustice, social discord with an unyielding resolve and a clear moral compass. It means fostering hope where despair looms, building bridges of community where divisions fester, and remembering that true, lasting strength lies not in aggression or dominance, but in selflessness, moral fortitude, and the courage to act. The fire is not Beowulf's alone, it is our collective inheritance, a sacred trust passed down through generations. It is the enduring memory of noble deeds, the inherent human capacity for good, waiting to be stoked and cherished. Let us not allow its brilliant glow to dwindle to fragile embers. Let us fan it into a roaring blaze, a guiding light that illuminates our present, inspires our children, and ensures that the heroic spirit, so magnificently embodied by Beowulf, continues to light our way forward, forever undimmed through the ages.